Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at some of the top altcoins, doing some technical analysis. I think today we'll take a look at Chainlink, AVAX. We'll also go through SUI HBAR, and let's do one more. Let's do ONDO. We'll finish up with that. Last week went through some of the top altcoins within the top 10. This week I wanted to talk through some of the altcoins outside of the top 10. So looking at crypto fear and greed, we are still in fear territory. We have been bouncing between extreme fear and sort of neutrality, but when we zoom out and take a macro look since the highs of greed, we can see it feels like that was so long ago when it really wasn't. But we can see that fear and greed just keeps making these lower highs. So we are getting higher lows as well. A little bit of a wedge formation there. So we can see maybe can crypto pop back up, or is it going to go back down into extreme fear pretty soon? And that's where the lows locally are going to come in. That's kind of what I'm looking for as far as a seasonality perspective. When we've had in 2014 in 2020, when we've had a back-to-back negative February and March, April and May tend to be a bit better. So maybe it's not quite April, maybe it's May. I mean, we've seen months like this where, man, wouldn't we all love to see crypto and Bitcoin going up 25% one month and 70 the next? So hopefully we see something like that. But as we talk about altcoins, yeah, I'm sure some of you here have probably heard of alt season. And simply put, we need to see Bitcoin top or in the process of topping where it's too expensive to buy before we get alt season and that massive rotation where you see those huge gains. That is the end of alt season. What also happens before is that at least last cycle, not really in 2017, but slowly and over time, we see a little bit of a rotation. And so alts can still go up over the course of a year. They can still do a 2x to a 5x, just temper your expectations. Not everything's going to explode when you're looking at these large caps, at least not typically. But that is what we're looking for. We're looking for the rotation. Earlier this week, I talked about the altcoin metrics, how they still haven't shown us they for sure bottomed yet. So with that being the case, altcoins, just I want to say this as a caveat for this video, altcoins can still rotate into Bitcoin at this point in time. We are not seeing the alt season metrics bullish yet. I'll talk about that maybe briefly. And of course, on my channel, I talk about a lot of macro charts and indicators for Bitcoin, crypto. Talk about even Bitcoin mining stocks. And we talk about the regular stock market. I'll do a video on that tomorrow. So subscribe if you want to hear more about that. So I talked about this week how this is the first time in a bit that we've had a buy signal pop up on the weekly. That's a good macro signal, but we still have resistance from this channel and one of the 20-week moving averages. So that's still going on. And on the daily, you don't want to see this. So that buy signal, it could be a fake out. I mean, we've seen sell signals before where they are very short and brief and we go a lot higher. Could this be a buy signal where we just go a bit lower? So do watch out for that. I don't love that Bitcoin couldn't get over the 200 and the 50. You see all of this selling going on right there at the 200 and the 50. So if this sell signal on the daily starts to play out, we could possibly go lower. We had a newer low here. I'm still eyeing somewhere around 69K. One of the reasons for that is the macro low to high 236. So I can show you that right here. You see 69K, macro 236. You see the fib there on the left. We hit the 236 from that March high to where we sold off in August as well. So 69K, I think that could be a bottom if we hit it. I also don't want to see Bitcoin get too far underneath the 69K and the 100-week moving average. If we do, I think that's going to be very concerning, at least as far as getting an alt season anytime soon. I think levels down here could show us that maybe alt season is further away than we thought. Of course, as I talk about alt season metrics, there's total 3 divided by Bitcoin, which is kind of the opposite of this. And then there's Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, that just means that more money, more of a percent of the money in crypto is going to Bitcoin. So 64% of all money in crypto is in Bitcoin. Could this be a topping area where we possibly start to reverse? Maybe, but we don't have confirmation that there is that rotation happening. We are not bearish on Bitcoin dominance. We're not bullish on total 3 dash Bitcoin. So just keep an eye on that. Anyways, let's get into our altcoins. And the first one we're going to start off with is Link, because Link is one of my favorites. And for full transparency, I do have a bit of Link. Watching this trend line, seeing if it goes under. Link right now on the weekly underneath the 200-week moving average. If we draw ourselves a fib, what do we got here? If we draw ourselves a fib, Link is right at the 382. So I do like this level for Link right here as far as the 382. I do like this as a discount by the dip area. Now, if I take a look at, let's get rid of our buy sell signal for now. But if we add on, let's take a look at a couple. Won't do this for all of them. The MACD, we do want to see this curl up, but do know even as it's curling up, we can still make lower prices as shown here. So all because MACD is weakening on the oversold side doesn't mean it's done going down, but I do like that it's curling up. That's a good thing. And then if we take a look at the stochastic, these two are good to pair together. It's in the bottom area. We want to see this start moving upwards. So that's why I like putting the buy signals, the MACD and the stochastic together. Right now, Link has a bit of work to do. You can see it's underneath all its moving averages on the weekly, especially on the daily. And it really just keeps getting sent down by the 20-day moving average. A little bit of a fake out there, never really even tested the fib and the moving averages. That's why I like the fibs and the moving averages together. I think they tell good stories together. But once again, getting rejected by the 20. But now we have this trend line, which is a little bit underneath. You can see how it hit it right there. Some lucky buyer. And then we have the 382. So if we continue to see it get rejected by the 20, Chainlink might lose that 382 and come back down to these prices around $10 or even as low as $8.60. So that's where I'd be taking a look for deals on Link if it goes further down. But if we were to see, some people are worried about recessions right now. If we were to see a recession pop up within the year, then of course any of these altcoins, you can see them go a lot lower. So that's why I like having confirmation, so I'm not just catching falling knives. All right, let's next take a look at AVAX. And let's see, we have to go in the crypto here. AVAX, I believe this is the one I've charted. Yes, it is. Look at all those lines. All right, let's break that down. So AVAX, it's been within channels and broken out before. Talked about how AVAX being a lower end of this channel was a possible, good time to get a deal. But what do we see? AVAX, yes, it was under the 20, but it's been getting above that a couple times, getting rejected by the 50-day moving average. So we want to see AVAX get over that. It's at the 20 right here. May come down somewhere around that 236 fib at around 1684 to 1466. I think pretty good dollar cost average territory down here. Even where it's at right now, I don't hate it. But you want to see AVAX start taking out these moving averages, the 382 fib, the 200. Really, until AVAX starts closing above this $28 area, it's just kind of dead right now and going down a bit. Let's see. Oh, I don't know if you guys notice this, but the trading view changes. They used to have the 5-year in 1 week intervals. They've taken off all being the monthly. So that's interesting. As far as AVAX, does it have a buy signal here, kind of like Bitcoin? Let's take a look at that. I guess yes, it does. So if you love AVAX and you just want to simply dollar cost average buy signals, there you go. But again, could it be one of these where it goes lower? Sure. But as a dollar cost averager myself, If I loved AVAX, I don't need to get just only the exact bottom. I want a bucket of bottoms. That's my perspective on AVAX. And also, I like that value down here, being at the lower end of the channel and that fib. So those two things are good. Don't love how it got rejected off this golden fib back here, but when alt season comes, if AVAX is going to be one of those altcoins that does very well, I mean, this could be one that does a 10x from here. As crazy as that sounds, it has a almost an $8 billion market cap, so that'd be around 80 billion. Just saying that if AVAX does well, those are sort of the price targets I look for, at least as far as market cap. All right, let's take a look at SUI, HBAR, and then ONDO. All right, SUI, see what's going on. I think this is, let's try this one. Okay, cool, I charted it. So SUI got up to the 1618 almost, and it's come down to earth quite a bit. Kind of like what I'm watching for with XRP. What's it going to do with the 50? But it came down. I'll say this is somewhat promising for SUI. It did bounce off its, well, is that the former 888? Actually, we have to put our fib back on log since it got underneath its all-time high. It was on log. Actually, now that we took it off log, it got up to the 2618. So I stand corrected. Off log, we see the price targets when we draw a fib high to low. So it got all the way to the 2618 extension at $5. Good profit taking area. Our fib was on log before. And yeah, showing a lot of buyers off the 888. But SUI, right now to me, this is still just looking bearish. And, maybe it'll come up, test that 50. But if it starts closing under that former high, then you're looking for that 888. This is the 100-week moving average and the 786. I'd be willing to be patient for that because SUI, it had this massive move from the lows to that recent high. I mean, come on, 1,000% move. I'm not chasing this right now. I'm willing to wait to show that this is a better base. And also just wait for stuff like Bitcoin. Wait for stuff like Bitcoin to show it has bottomed out and then see where these alts are at. That's kind of my perspective on SUI. All right, let's take a look at HBAR. It's always got like all these different tickers. Kind of screws with my brain here a little bit. Hopefully this is the one I've charted. Great. So HBAR, you can see stalled out at the 786, just like Doge. When Doge got to its recent highs, stalled out at its 786. But HBAR, it's just been coming down. Got bought up off the 0.5 fib. Right now it's at the 50 week moving average. Also got bought up off the 100-week moving average. But we don't have confirmation to the upside yet. Again, you can take a look at the MACD, stochastic, some of those indicators, or even simply take a look at what Bitcoin's doing. Is Bitcoin doing well? And, if so, then see where the price action's at. So, yeah, I'm not ready to say I would get in on HBAR. I want to see this form more of a base. I do like all this support, the 100, the 200, and the 0.5, but I want to see it kind of go sideways and just, quit doing these waves down. Not an Elliott wave guy, but, we see it just doing these waves down. All right, lastly, let's finish up with ONDO. I will do a live stream. That is my plan, to do a live stream this Friday. So if you have any requests for certain altcoin analysis, join the live stream. I want to do the live stream at around noon Central Time. So join the live stream or comment below if there's any altcoins you'd like for me to take a look at, and I'd be happy to do so. All right, ONDO. ONDO is an altcoin that I think has some promise. It's hard. I'll say this. It's hard to research altcoins, as far as the positives and the negatives, because so much just shows the positives. So, take it with a grain of salt. All the news you read, it seems about every altcoin is just good things as far as the project goes, but as far as, what are we looking to do here? Make money. So, as far as ONDO is concerned, I mean, look at where these buy signals have been, and we are within range of that. I don't know if it's going lower, but the fact we're getting a weekly buy signal, hey, not a bad thing. And if we go to the daily, What do we see on the daily? I don't like this as much, uh, having that rejection, but are we going to find support at the 10 and the 20s here? That's the EMA and the SMA. If we go down and hit that 382, that's where we got this big daily buy signal before. Also the channel. So I'd be watching for that. And hopefully that channel doesn't continue. But if it does, then I'd be watching for that. The 236 at around 64 cents, but I do like the 3-2 area at around 76. And again, is Bitcoin bottomed out there? Is Bitcoin showing it's bottomed out? I think that's kind of what we're waiting to see here. As I was talking about earlier this week with that weekly buy signal, maybe we have to hold our horses a little bit, because on the daily, but what's going to happen here? We have to see this play out, and then based off what we do, if Bitcoin does a three-wave move up, a little correction, and then blast through these moving averages in this channel. If Bitcoin starts closing above 88, that's where the channel and the last moving averages on the daily, the 100, then I'll say, okay, these are good bottom ranges for those altcoins. But if Bitcoin is not going to be able to close above 88 and it's going to get rejected here, I am worried about that 69K. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you all tomorrow when I put out my weekly stock market video. So thanks again for watching. Take care.